I think the reason why most of us do not know how to execute our dreams and walk out our purpose because we lack strategy, we lack understanding, we lack the knowledge, we lack the wisdom, right? And those things are, you can obtain those things, and that's free. It's not like you have to go out and pay for wisdom or strategy or understanding or knowledge. All those things are at the palm of your hands, or the palm in your reach, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So, like, anytime I want to start something, or even my business, prayer over matter, right? I ask God for wisdom on how to execute it, on how to start it. Even down from business cards. How does my business card look different from other people's business cards? What companies should I use? And pay attention to your dreams, because a lot of stuff happens in your dreams. You just think it's a dream, but He's giving you strategy in your dream. He's giving you way to execute in your dreams. He's giving you the way to demolish your enemies in your dreams. You just don't pay attention to it. So understanding is, it's very important, you know?
But what if when you are in those stage, you are starting over, you just start, you have a dream, you have a goal, a vision, but the people around you are telling you it's impossible, it's a waste of time, stop doing it, it doesn't matter. How do you overcome that? How do you go about it?
So I always tell the people that I'm coaching, or anytime I'm talking about to these points, is you have to silence any outside voice. You have to silence the voice that tells you you'll never be nothing. You have to silence the voice that tells you you have no value, you have no worth, oh, your dreams suck, or you won't amount to anything. Those voices have to become mute. You know, that's one. And then writing down everything. Writing down everything is another thing. Because once you once you silence the voices, then that means you're at the point where, like, you're not turning back. You're not going to believe in those things. You're not going to believe in those words. You're not going to believe. You don't come in alignment with that. The moment you come into alignment with the thought of you'll never be nothing, that's you're walking down nothing path. You have 10 seconds to get rid of a thought before it becomes your own. I'm not saying before it becomes reality, but before it becomes your own. Now, to take ownership of something, that means it now belongs to you, right? So you want to get rid of that thought within the first 10 seconds of it coming in your head. So once you silence the voices, like, you're shutting down everything and everyone that speaks against your destiny. Then you write everything down. You write everything down. You align yourself with those things. God says He has a plan and a purpose for my life. So I'm coming in alignment with His plan, His purpose for my life. You got to remember, even though God has a plan for your life, it's still a choice. You still have a choice if you're going to go with His plan or go your own way. So you start to write down things. It could be from the simplest thing to the greatest thing, your short-term goal to your long-term goals, right? You write those down. Once you really understand that you can achieve those things, you'll start to see those things happen and appear in your life. You just check them off little by little. I wrote down everything I wanted in a job, and I got it exceedingly, okay? Because I wrote everything down. You write it down. Once you write it down, you understand too, with every person you meet lies an opportunity. So you don't just negate or just like ignore the person in the grocery store because they're in the grocery store. You don't ignore the person at the park because they're in the park. You don't skim through a reading of a book because it just doesn't have all the information that you're looking for, or the person that's just passing you by that's saying a simple good morning. With every person you meet lies an opportunity. You'll be surprised the conversations you will have with people, who people know, their resources, and everything like that. If you give people an opportunity just to have a discussion, a conversation, you can grow so much with a simple conversation. Because resources isn't going to fall into your lap, right? Your resources and your is going to come through like networking and people and conversations and different ideas, research, so you have to understand that you are completely 100% in charge of how your destiny is going to turn out.
Somebody asked how to mute those voices. I think she already answered that part.
You mute them by, see, I know it's hard, right? Because when the seeds have been planted of you're nothing, you'll never amount to anything, you're stupid, you're this, you're that, you replace those words with how God sees you. God says you are fearfully and wonderfully made. So if God says you are fearfully and wonderfully made and someone says you're stupid, you'll never amount to nothing, who's the liar? Let every man be a liar and God be true. So the things that God instilled in you, the way he sees you, the way he identifies you trumps, right? Man, it trumps your mother's thoughts, it trumps your father's thoughts, it trumps your neighbor, your boyfriend, your wife, it trumps their thoughts. It supersedes anything anyone else has to say. That's how you know it's a lie. You go back to what God sees you as. So if someone says you're stupid, there's no way I'm stupid. If someone says you're nothing, well, the Bible says I was created before the foundation of the earth. So if I'm created before the foundation of the earth, that means I was always something. So you telling me I'm nothing, you're a liar. You're a liar. You have to put what they are and accept them for what they are. See, the problem is when your mother and your father lie to you and they tell you these things, you look at them as, well, that's my mom and my dad. No, they're a liar. They are a liar. Doesn't matter if it's your mother or your father. They are a liar. Sent from the pits of hell, okay, to deter you from reaching your destiny, to deter you from reaching and walking in your purpose. It doesn't matter their title in your life, right? The Bible says, Father, do not bring your child to anger, right? Because when you bring your children to anger, they sin, meaning they go the wrong way. The Bible tells parents don't do that, right? So by telling your children you'll never be anything, you'll never amount to nothing, you're putting them in a position to live nothingness, to have nothing, to be nothing, right? Because words are powerful and they activate the earth. They're like seeds that we plant in the ground and we wait to see them blossom. Remember, seeds grow in due season. So they may have said to you since you were little, you're nothing, but you may not see nothing come into existence until you're in your 20s and you're wondering why everything you do, you're not succeeding. That's because your parents planted those seeds and then you believed in those seeds. You believed in those words. So now you have to completely shut them out and start looking at the people in your lives who have told you these things as being straight liars. They are human agents come to deter you, destroy you. Now, I'm not saying you disrespect your parents or anything like that. What I'm saying is that you have to see people for what they are. When someone shows you themselves, you believe them the first time. You believe them, okay, is that how you think of me? Then, okay, that's what I'm going to believe. I'm going to believe that you are not all there.
Do you agree or think that those, if our internal voices are, oh, you are not worth, you are not good enough, you are bad, you can't make it, you can't do it, it's not our voices but it's the voices of those outside of us? Do you think we can have negative thoughts around ourselves that created by ourselves?
Listen, I've seen people who grew up with very loving parents and have the lowest self-esteem because no matter how much love you may have around you, it's still up to you to develop in those areas, right? It's still up to you to see yourself as worth. Everything we do in life is still a choice. So people who see themselves as nothing, even when they have love around them, right? Now let's talk to that point, right? Even though they have love around them and they still see that means there's something in them. They always want more. They always need more. They always want to have something. That's a self-sabotaging mindset, right? And people who have that mindset, whether you have love around you or not, that mindset is going to destroy you. Anything, feeling like you'll never have enough, you'll never be good enough, and when you do have something, you mess it up. It's a self-sabotaging mindset. So the voices in us, right, can damage us. The voices outside of us can damage us, right? But at the end of the day, whether it's outside or inside voices, we still have the choice to refuse them or to receive them.
How can somebody change their inner self-talk?
It's the same thing with the outer self. So if you have voices inwardly, and I'm not talking about like schizophrenic, right? Okay. But when you have the voice internally, maybe it's due to trauma or some type of experience or just having low self-esteem. It's the same thing as outside voices. You have to be aware that those voices are not of God, right? That's one, because God is good, right? Anything he created is good. He said, when I thought of you, my thought towards you are good and not of evil. So his thoughts towards you are good. So anything that's inwardly that tells you that you're not good or you're not nothing, you have to silence those voices too. You have to shut those voices up. And one thing that I used to do was I would literally say, shut up, right? Because I dealt with anxiety for many years, and my anxiety was bad, but I overcame it. Like, I don't know what a panic attack is, an anxiety attack, and I haven't touched medicine in probably over 13 years. So maybe longer, 16, 17 years, because I chose to silence the sensations, the emotions, the feelings, the voices that made me feel like I couldn't go beyond a certain barrier or I couldn't go beyond a certain line, right? And sometimes I would just literally say, shut up. And what saying shut up does out loud is it restarts your vagus nerve. So, because our body is all connected, and I don't want to get too scientific, right? But it restarts something in you that is like, okay, well, gee, especially for people who deal with anxiety. Oh, wow, she told me to shut up. She's never told me to shut up before like that. You're taking authority over your life. You understand that you are in complete control. No anxiety, no panic, no inside voice. And I'm not talking about deeper things like schizophrenia and all that. I'm not talking about that, right? But no inside voice, no outside voice can affect you to the point where you cannot move forward. Everything is a choice. You have a choice. Everything is a choice. There's power in your choice. Everything. And a made-up mind is a force to be reckoned with. So once you make up your mind and you know your mind is made up, man, someone to have to battle with you, they'll lose.
I don't know if you want to share, but you just mentioned that you had, in the past, that's not you anymore, and it's never going to be you. You said anxiety, but since you overcome it without using pills, what helped you to overcome that? Because a lot of people, at least to me, they come to me, oh, I have anxiety. I'm like, stop saying you have it, but they be like, oh my God, you've been too harsh. Why would you tell me that? But you care about my health? I'm like, well, let me just stay quiet then.
Anxiety is pressure. It's like pressure that busts pipes. So once you get to the point, you're building up the pressure, but once the pipes actually bursts, that's when you start to feel the sensation of anxiety or an anxiety attack. Panic attack is something that comes on you and it's like frequent, right? I could have 10 panic attacks all day. And I'll tell you this, one time I was running, I was practicing with my band, and the panic started to come over me. I dropped my microphone and I ran up the steps, and I heard an audible voice. Now, this for me was the voice of God. It was an audible voice, and it said with such power in the voice, it said, "Where are you going?" When I thought about it, I looked around and I said to myself, where am I going? I'm running, but who am I running from? I'm running, but where am I running to? That's when I kind of knew. That's when God put it in me that I have full control over every sensation, over every emotion, over every thought, over every feeling, and I can tell it to stop. I can tell it to stop, right? So sometimes it's working your breathing, learning how to breathe. That's important. Learning how to really pray. That's important. But what really, really helped me is visualization. Visualizing myself over the problem. When I was feeling anxiety, I didn't talk about feeling anxiety. When I was feeling panic, I didn't talk about, because talking about it feeds it. Talking about it gives it life. So I didn't want to talk about feeling anxiety because I knew if I talk about it, then I'm just going to feel it even more. So what I did was I silenced that by telling it to shut up, to stop. And if I was around people, I would say it in my head. I would gain authority over it because this thing was trying to destroy my life, okay? And so I knew that if a pill could help me, like if a pill could subside the feelings for a moment, then there has to be something that could get rid of it permanently. And that was literally changing my mindset. So that is what I did. And it's a fight. Don't get me wrong. It is a fight to battle it. But I knew that it was either me or anxiety. And my life, my dreams, my aspirations, my goals was bigger than anxiety. And I was not about to let anxiety win, to let panic attack. I mean, I would wake up from a nap and have a panic attack. I called 911 before because I thought I was having a heart attack, right? And they're like, oh, just take your medicine if they gave you medicine. And I'm looking at these people look at me like this stupid. You know, you felt like this, they're looking at you and treating you like this stupid girl. You know, that's what you feel like. Oh, just take your medicine. If that's what the doctor gave you, just go ahead and take it. And I was like, no. And this time I was living in Canada, and I remember going into the hospital, and they gave you your prescription right there. And this older man in the wheelchair, I swear he saved my life. He said, what are you here for? And I'm like, oh, just anxiety. He said, what did they give you? And I showed him. He said, oh, my wife, she was addicted to those things. She just couldn't seem to get off of them. Oh, I miss her. I swear to you, as daunting as those words were in the moment, they saved my life because his wife couldn't defeat something that was just so defeatable. It was defeatable. Anxiety is defeatable. You don't have to live with it. But it's a choice. Either you're going to surrender to it or you're going to fight it. And when you fight it, you have to understand you're not fighting it alone. God is with you. And I'm going to tell you another story. This may be too much for your listeners. I don't know, but I'm going to tell you another story.
Go ahead, please.
So I thought that the son, being full of anxiety, I also thought it was going to kill me. Like the sun was going to kill me. So I wouldn't walk for long periods of time. I couldn't enjoy life because I'm thinking if I go out in the sun, I am going to die. So we were at a music festival and it was sunny and it was nice. And I said, I got to leave. And, at this time, all my bandmates thought I was cuckoo. They were like, this girl is crazy, but I know what I'm feeling. So when I went back home, I'm by myself. It took about 45 minutes in a cab to get back where I lived. I run upstairs, but I run upstairs into my closet. Now, why I run into a closet, I don't know. But when I got into the closet, God revealed himself to me as light. Now, because people will say, well, what does God look like? I can't tell you because he revealed to me himself as light. God is light, right? So that's how he came. And he said, listen, you can fight this thing alone, or you can allow me to navigate you through it. The choice is yours. Now, the choice is yours was said with such emphasis because the choice is ours. We have the choice. Even though God came with me with a plan, he can help me through it. That was his plan. But ultimately, the choice belongs to me, right? So then I said, well, hey, and I'm talking back as if you and I are having this conversation. That's how I had the conversation with God. So I'm talking back and I'm like, well, every man in my life has let me down. They've lied to me. They forsaked me. They left me. And he said, I am not a man that I shall lie. I extend my hand to you. You either take it or you don't. The choice is yours. And I extended my hand to him. And he grabbed my hand with light. And I kept it moving. And when I tell you that it was easier for me to take his plan and do it his way than for me to do it my way. So when I tell you, you have to silence the voice. It's not because I'm telling you because it sounds good. I'm telling you because I've experienced it. I'm telling you because I know it to be factual. I'm telling you to you because I know it works, because I've been there myself.
You mentioned visualization briefly. Do you want to walk us through how do you visualize? Or and why? Why is it important to visualize? Does it work in your life? Does it bring anything to your life? Is it true? Is it real?
So the word of God says, write the vision down and make it plain, right? So that's your dreams. Anything you're dreaming, anything you your purpose, anything you see yourself doing or wanting, you write it down, right? Because when you write something down, you're held accountable to that. It's almost like a contract. You're promising yourself that these things I want to see happen. These things are going to happen, right? So I said to myself, okay, I want a job that pays this amount. I want a job that's remote because I have to watch my kids. I want a house that's close to transportation. I want a house with all wood floors. I want a house that has an attic and a basement. I want a house. So when it was time for me to look for homes, I'm looking for homes, right? Because I'm purchasing a house, but this house is not on my list. So then I come across a house that's on my list. This house I want. Now this house that I want, there's multiple buyers that want the same house. But who gets the house? I do. The house is near everything I asked it to be near. I'm near an elementary school and a middle school. I could just walk my kids to school. I'm near transportation. I'm near parks. I have wood floors. I have a basement and an attic. I have 4 bedrooms. I have 3.5 bathrooms. I have things. I have a swimming pool in my backyard. I have a nice grass. I have things that I asked for because I not only prayed for them, but I didn't think for once that I couldn't obtain it. I didn't think for once that I couldn't obtain it. The job that I have, right? So even though I have a side business, I also have a full-time job and I'm in school full-time. So the job that I have, how much money do I need in order to not feel stress? Okay, I wrote it all down. What type of management do I need my manager to have? I wrote it down. What type of schedule do I need? I wrote it down. Man, 7 months later, I got, interviewing for jobs, got the job 7 months later. I said, let me go back to that list that I wrote down. Everything I wrote down on that list, I got it. Why? Because I wrote the vision down, I made it plain, and I aligned myself with that vision. Right? This is the thing. In order to see something happen in your life, you cannot for 1 second leave the vision. The vision is where some people say where the magic happens. The vision is where reality really is. The reality that you're experiencing being broke, poor, that's not the reality God has for you. That's the reality you have for yourself. The vision where you're living and walking in abundance, moving in abundance, joyful, you're beyond happy, you're joyful, you're peaceful, that's your true reality. So you got to stay in the vision in order to see the vision come to this human experience.
Do you think manifestation and visualization are the same thing?
So I believe that I can't manifest anything outside of what God has for me, right?
Why?
And why would I?
Okay.
Why would I want something that God doesn't have for me? The safest place, the richest place, the wealthiest place, the healthiest place is in his will. So why would I want anything outside of his will? I watched a video of this girl not too long ago. Says she manifests love and she got the love of her life. And this man used her for a green card. He used her for her money. Now, if this what manifestation gets you, then I don't want that, okay? I don't want that type of manifestation. So for me, right, I believe in aligning my way with God's way. Okay, God, what do you have for me? So this is what you have for me. So this is the vision that I'm going to take on for myself. And then I want to see the manifestation. God will manifest the vision for me. All I have to do is have faith, unwavering, undoubting, working towards that vision to actually see it come to life. God is going to manifest it. I don't care about manifesting it because, who am I? I'm nothing without God, right? That's my belief. You believe whatever you want to believe, viewers. But me, I am nothing without him. Apart from him, I am nothing. So for me, God, I need you to manifest this, but I keep the vision alive. I work towards the vision. Anyone who speaks against this vision, I completely reject it. I close them off. I shut them out. I call them a liar. I send them back where they came from because I don't need your negativity. But my focus is on the vision. You have to have, what do they call that? Tunnel vision. When you're talking about your destiny, you have to have tunnel vision, right? So yeah, that's what I do. So for me, visualization and manifestation is different. It's different because manifestation is seeing it come to life, right? Visualization is visualizing it coming to life. So those are two different things. I visualize this, but the vision can be manifested. So
why do you think stops people from making the visualization a reality?
Their mindset. People have poor mindset. People can't break the barriers in their mind, right? Knowing is half the battle. So if you know better, you do better, right? But people don't know better.
Mm.
And because they don't know better, they don't think they can have better. Because their experience has always been negative. But like I tell people, you're not your experience. Your experience was meant to push you into your purpose, to catapult you into your purpose. Use every bad thing that's happened to you as leverage, right? So if you're using your experiences as leverage, oh, this bad thing's happened to me, but that's okay because I could turn this bad thing into a story. How I can become a speaker and talk about how I've overcome this bad stuff, and now I'm making thousands of hundreds of dollars by off of my bad experience. But we don't know that. We don't know that our problems are meant to be used as leverage. Your problems isn't for you to just experience them or to get through them. Your problems are meant to experience God. So once you experience God through oh my gosh, God, you're amazing, you're great. He'll push you because you're working beyond your problems. You're not allowing the problem to beat you down, to keep you down. You're not allowing the problems to keep you down, right? What did I say to you the other day? I said to you that your purpose doesn't care about your feelings. So because your purpose don't care about your feelings, the tears you cry at night, your purpose is sitting at you with its hands folded. If you could look into the spirit and actually see that the angels that have been assigned to your life to push you and to make sure that you live out your purpose, they're just waiting for you. They can't do anything until you move. Your purpose cannot do anything until you move. Right? So your purpose is just sitting there looking at you like, this nigga, this girl, seriously, dang, and it's just like, come on, you're crying yourself a river at night. And don't get me wrong, like, broken hearts and that stuff is real. That stuff is real, right? The problem, you've been hurt, bad childhood, the stuff, what you've been through, you've experienced it. It's real, right? But your purpose still has a mission. And it's up to you to fill in the mission statement. You got to be the mission statement, but your purpose has a mission. So it has to live out regardless of your feelings. Your feelings are fickle. They're like a roller coaster. One minute you're up, the next minute you're down. 1 minute you're up. Is that who you want to lead you to success? Your feelings? No. So you're like, okay, I don't want to be led by emotion, so I have to build my mindset. I have to build my mindset so that I'm led in the right way.
I have a vision, but I'm not seeing results in 5 years, in 10 years. How do I keep going?
Well, first of all, we have a vision. Sometimes, and I'll be very honest with you, there's things that you want, okay, but not necessarily your purpose. Now, I'm going to be very honest. I have sung my whole life. I am a songwriter. I have written with some amazing people, sat at the table with some of the celebrities you see on your TV.
Hey, your voice is... Please keep talking. Oh my God. I can listen to you to sleep.
Okay. So, I
Beautiful
sing.
voice.
But what God showed me is that there's a scripture that says your gift will make room for you. My gift of music is different from my purpose. So the ability to sing, stand in front of hundreds of people, sit at tables with some of your best celebrities will make room for my purpose. My purpose is to talk to people, to have a voice that transcends and to be effective and allow effective change. So I got my confidence through the ability of music, but it doesn't mean that I am supposed to be the next Beyonce or Sierra or Ashanti or SZA or any of those people, right? And I've learned to understand that the ability to sing is a gift from God, which I appreciate. But my purpose in life is not my gift.
How do you differentiate your gift from your purpose?
You will know when you're walking in your purpose because things will start to align. Things will start to make sense. If you've been working on something for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, and it doesn't mean that it's not your purpose, sometimes you just got to go back to the drawing board and see if this is to see, like, if you could create another strategy, or God, what am I doing this the right way? Am I being really strategic? Am I moving in the direction you want me to move? Because like I said, sometimes we what we want, we think it's our purpose, or what we want, we think it's the way to go. There's a lot of people who have said, I've tried it my way. I've been dealing with this business for 5 years, and it wasn't until I said, God, I surrender my business to you. What is it that you want me to do? And God just started to download information to them on how to do this business. And them working on it for 5 years, it becoming, what is that? Oh, yeah, that's fine. Them working on it for 5 years, right? Getting absolutely nothing on it. It wasn't until they aligned themselves with the plan and will of God that they saw their business actually blossom. So if it's taken you years and years and years, it doesn't mean that that's not your purpose. You have to go back to the drawing board. Go back to the source of it all. Who is God? And say, God, is this what you want for me? What do you have? Give me strategy. Give me input. In my dreams, download things even while I'm sleeping. Understanding, knowledge, wisdom, ideas. And he'll give it to you. He said in his word, you ask for wisdom, he'll give it to you without reproach. He will give you it without reproach. Some of us are just wanting to do it our way, and doing it your way is not working. So you have to relinquish that control, right? Because you're like, I want to do it this way. Now, God told you, go right. You said, well, left is a shorter route. But he says, I need you to go right. And you're like, no, left is shorter. So you go left, and even though it's shorter, it brought you to nowhere faster. So where he told you to go right, where you may have had some hills to climb, some oceans to swim, but the end result was, through those hills, you're going to learn so much. Through those waters, you're going to learn so much. And you're going to make it to the promised land because you've gained so much knowledge and insight on how to maintain the land, how to develop the land but you wanted to go the short way. So then you just landed nowhere faster.
Can you work on your purpose to make it better, bigger? If yes, how?
Can you work on your purpose to make it better
or bigger?
I guess, well, that just kind of depends on what your purpose is, but there's always room for development. You could be completely successful at something. Let's take Kanye West, for instance. Kanye West, Adidas dropped him, dropped him. This dude said, I'm going to spend millions of dollars to put a ad or commercial during the Super Bowl. And I'm going to sell every item for $20. So he put a spot, paid millions of dollars for a spot during the Super Bowl, filmed the commercial with his telephone, just pretty much saying, hey, come to my website. The man made millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? Because he has strategy. Strategy is going to be your best friend, right? So even though he's already a millionaire, how do I get more millions? How do I get more money? How do I establish more of the kingdom of God in my life? God doesn't want you to be lazy. The work you do is important, right? But when you align your thoughts with his thoughts, the burden isn't heavy. So you don't feel like a heavy weight. If you're feeling a real heavy weight where you're just burdened and weary and can't take it, this dream is just too big, that means your mindset is not in the right direction. You hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So God said He would make your yoke easy and your burden light. So if you're feeling a yoke of uneasiness and your burden is heavy, 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 where you can't even breathe, that means you're not doing something right. You got to look at the patterns. Really watch what's happening around you. Maybe there's someone in your life that's attached to you that's a destiny snatcher, and you got to get rid of them in order to start walking in your purpose. People are sent on a mission to destroy your lives. So maybe it's something as simple as dropping some folks off at the bus stop. Maybe it's simple as dropping some food in the trash. Maybe it's simple as dropping the TV. Maybe it's simple as dropping social media, so you can start to hear and see and feel and actually activate your five senses on how to gain access to your purpose, how to start walking in the direction of your purpose.
Wow. As you were talking, you repeated almost every single time on the power of the mindset, of the power of the mindset, of the power of our thought. Why is it so important, and why is it attached to almost everything we do?
Because with a poor mindset, you'll just be poor. It's that simple. We complicate it, but with a poor way of thinking, you're poor. You're poor in mind, you're poor in body, you're poor in finances, you're poor in spirit, you're poor in emotions, you're poor in this, you're poor in that, you're poor in this. You're poor. You're depleted. You don't have nothing to give. You don't have nothing to give any type of way. Okay, not just money. You have nothing to give anybody when you're poor, right? So your mindset, right? Your mindset is important. Having a brilliant way of thinking is important in order to obtain the life you want to live. You know, even being a mom or a dad or whatever, you have to have a certain mindset. You know, that's important. You can't do nothing with a funky mind. Nothing. You can't be a lover with a funky mind. You can't be nobody's wife, nobody's husband with a funky mind. You can't be nobody's friend with a funky mind. You can't be a friend to yourself with a funky mind. You can't be a business person with a funky mind. You can't be teachable with a funky mind. Everything starts with the mind first. Once you have a made-up mind, I said it at the beginning, a made-up mind is a force to be reckoned with. Once you make up your mind to go in a certain direction and don't reroute from that, my gosh, you are a powerful force. Jesus teaches us about the mind. If you tell this mountain to be removed by faith, faith is a part of your mindset. Believing is a part of your mindset, and faith is your heavenly currency. The more faith, the more belief, the more strong mindset you have, the more you will see great things happen in your life. When the praises go up, the blessings come down. That is, praising is part of having a healthy mindset. Do you think God wants you to praise him and you're down and out and funky and in despair and you go to him? It says, enter into my courts with thanksgiving. Enter into my gates with praise. You have to have a heart of thanksgiving, a heart of gratitude. It all starts in the mind.
For a mindset shift, how do you change from poverty to prosperity, from sickness to health, from brokenness to riches? What are the mental blockages you think people should, in order to get out of the bad and get into the good.
It all start everything. There's no math. Everything has the same starting point. I don't care if I live in New Jersey. You may live in Texas. I had a bad life. You had a bad life too. I had a bad life. You had a good life. But it all starts. We're all trying to get to our purpose. It starts at the same point. Your mind. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what type of life you had, what type of life I had. We all have the same starting point. We was born. We were birthed into this world. That's the same starting point. Now we have to change our mindset regardless of what is around us, because money's not going to fall into our lap, right? Money is made from trees, but we can't make our own money off of a tree. So we have to start with our mindset. Mindset is what's important. Mindset is what's going to get you from sickness to health, from poor to riches. Your mindset. I told you guys about that book. I don't have it up here with me. I must have brought it downstairs, but it's called Words. It's $1.65 or 99 cents on Amazon. It's by Kenneth. I don't have it up here. I don't remember his last name, but Kenneth. I can probably look it up. It's called Words by. And it's a 32-page book. If you guys don't have the attention span to read 32 pages, I don't know what to tell you. By Kenneth Hagin. Words. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Barbie. Words by Kenneth Hagin on Amazon. Hagin is Hagin. Words by Kenneth Hagin. 32 pages. But those 32 pages will transform your life. And you can read 32 pages a night. So every night before you go to bed, repetition is your best friend. You have to do the same thing over and over and over again, because that's discipline. Now, when I say the same thing, I'm not saying do the same thing for the same result. No. I'm saying you have to discipline yourself in order to see a different result. So if you have to read that book every night before you go to bed, in order for it to really start to sink into your system, that is disciplining yourself in order for those words to actually stick, right? Because a lot of us don't like to read. But reading is fundamental. We learned that in elementary school. So, it's a 32-page read. Kenneth Hagin. The book is called Words. That's it. And he tells you the power of words. He was a pastor back in the 1940s, and he couldn't understand why pastors wasn't teaching their members about the power of words when Jesus clearly wanted us to understand the power of our words, because there is life and death in our tongue, and those who eat of it will bear its fruit. So what are you eating? Are you eating life? Are you eating death? Because whatever you eat, that is what you will bear. That's the fruit you will bear. That is what you are going to see. So whatever you speak, that is what you're going to experience. Stop blaming it on mom and dad. Stop blaming it on mom and dad. I watched a video today, and I know I'm a chatty patty, but bear with me. I watched a video today where this girl said, why don't people ever talk about having toxic moms? And I wrote, many people talk about having toxic moms. You think you're the only person in the world with a toxic mother? Do you honestly think you're the only person in the world who has experienced bad, horrible parents? You're not. You're not. There are thousands of people who have the same. The Bible says there's nothing new under the sun. There are thousands of people who have bad parents, who have toxic parents, who've had horrible childhood. Then there are people who had those horrible childhood, horrible parenting, horrible experiences, and grew up to be some of the best people, best friends, best givers, best lovers in the world because they made a choice not to be like their experience. Everything boils down to a choice. Everything. You can't depend on your mom. There's 50 million people who can't depend on their mother. You can't depend on your father. There's 50 million people who can't. So instead of just talking about it, how do I turn my experience of not being able to depend on my mom and dad into money? You can actually turn that into money. Maybe you create some type of group, some type of, what do you call those groups? Like support groups, right? Councils. Maybe you hear certain people speaking. Hey, I'm doing this Zoom thing where we're supporting parents being bad. It's $5, it's $10. Come and join. People can have $5, $10 if they want to fix their mentality. You can turn anything into a hustle. So instead of like crying about it because your tears don't care about your feelings, your purpose don't care about your feelings. So instead of crying about it, how do I take this experience that I had and leverage off of it? Yes, my darling.
Can you take this off?
Yes.
And I'm sleeping.
Okay, go find your slippers and your pants.
Right over here. I'm gonna go.
Peer group. Okay. A peer group. Anything. You could turn anything into money. If people can get on TikTok and tell fake stories of them having cancer and all that type of stuff, and people just giving to lies and fakeness, you're coming with honesty. How much blessing are you going to receive from being honest? And if people don't want to get healed, I said, listen, I understand people can't afford one-on-one coaching, right?
My GoFund is in the profile. Thank you.
Huh?
No, keep going.
Oh, I said, I know people can't afford one-on-one coaching sometimes. So I said, okay, then I'll do group coaching, right? Where, I can get about 10 people in one session. Maybe they pay $20 for the session for them to join. And we're all talking like a group. So it's not just me, but it's also the people who's joined, the members. We're all sharing ideas. How did I cope with this? How did I get over this? What was this? Because, one-on-one coaching it takes a little more structure. But at least if you have a group setting, thank you so much. There's multiple people talking, multiple people sharing. You don't feel like you're alone. This person has experienced the same thing you experienced. So it leaves me talking less, but I'm also... So when I do talk or do share, I'm giving you something that's going to change your paradigm. I'm giving you information that's going to change your life, but you're sharing with one another how to get through some of your same experiences. So, you got to find little shortcuts.
Since you mentioned about the coaching classes, the PIP groups, what are the ways you think people can make money while they sleep?
I'm sorry? Hold on, be quiet, I can't hear her. What did you say?
So you talk about coaching, PEP groups, power of the internet. What are some ways you can advise people that they can use to make money while they sleep? That they can create something or build something that money is flowing to them consistently?
Well, you got to find what your niche is, right? So I see a lot of things, because that's where I'm at now. Like, God, I need something to make me money in my sleep. I see a lot of things that people are selling. You can take this course, you can make money, but I need the right one for me. So, of course, selling on Amazon, selling here, selling there, these things can make you money while you're sleeping. But what is going to be the most successful for you? You don't want to waste time and energy into something that's not going to be for you. That's the whole purpose of if you're operating out of God's will. Yes, he wants us to be abundant, and side hustles can bring us a lot of money, but it's the right side hustles. You don't want to be caught up in pyramid schemes. You don't want to have to invest thousands of dollars and then your return is nothing. So it's all about what is going to work well for you, and that might take some research, which is free, connection, which is free, networking, which is free, coming across the right person or the right thing, which is free. So I would say this, don't fall for anything.
But stand for
Don't
something.
invest in anything because you think it's going to get you rich quick. Take your time to research.
Can I have some more because I'm coughing?
Yes. Take your time to research. Yes, create your opportunities, right? Create your opportunities. My grandfather used to say, with every person you meet lies an opportunity. I used to laugh at this dude all the time because this dude would go up to anybody and just talk to them. Hey, my name is such a da da. I don't want to say his name because he's really big now. Hey, my name is such and such. Blah 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 blah. And I'm just laughing like, Dad, you go up to anyone who listens. And he's from Harlem, so New Yorkers, they got a whole different type of hustle. He was like, but that's what you gotta do. And he talks really fast. He said, that's what you gotta do. You gotta go because you'll never know who you meet. And I just was like, oh, no, I can't do that. I'm just going to wait for people to come and talk to me. And I realized I was a sucker. I was a sucker for thinking like that. This dude has surpassed me. Why? Because he did not wait for people to tell him job well done. He went up to anybody. You have Instagram, you have this, follow me on Instagram. Look at my stuff. Follow me. Here goes my card. Here goes my this. Here goes, my name is this. My name is that. He created his own opportunities. So it's about, like she said, creating your opportunities. And you cannot be scared. And you cannot have a nasty, funky attitude. Like someone owes you something because you had a bad life. That attitude has to go. That funky attitude has to go.
On your way to becoming the person you are today, what are some of the greatest things you had to overcome?
Oh, the greatest thing that I overcame was understanding that life is difficult. And when you understand that life is difficult, you have achieved one of your greatest lessons. Because too many people get caught up in the thought of when bad things happen to them, it's the worst that could happen to them, right? And they don't know how to necessarily grieve the process or grieve through the journey. And so we get caught up in the journey of grieving. But my greatest lesson learned is understand that life is difficult and bad things will happen. They're inevitable. I can't avoid bad things happening. I can just have the mindset to understand that bad things will happen. And when they do happen, I don't have to fall apart. I don't have to fall apart. I don't have to get beside myself. I don't have to let myself go because bad things happen. So when you understand that, you understand everything. In my opinion.
I often say that pain is necessary, but suffering is a choice. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. Pain, you said a necessity?
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's part of life, but suffering is a choice.
Yes. Suffering is a choice. Why would you suffer? Why would you allow yourself to suffer when that is a choice? You need pain because pain allows you to be uncomfortable, and uncomfortable will open the door to growth. So we need pain, right? You need to experience heartbreak, right? You need to experience loss. You need to have those experiences in order to build your confidence and your character. But suffering is definitely a choice. Someone breaks my heart and they leave me, and I'm still suffering from that heartbreak. I'm still choosing to hold them hostage with my feelings and my emotions, to have bitterness. Oh my gosh, why would you want to put yourself through that? Why would you want to do that? Whom the sun sets free is free indeed. I'm not doing that. Absolutely not. And this is coming from a woman whose husband walked away from her 13 years in our marriage with really no reason as to why he walked away. Why would I hold him? No. At first it was difficult to understand, but then I realized that, that's his choice. He made his bed and he has to lie in it. And why would you fight someone who will have to reap the consequences of their actions?
Why do you think the pain exists? What is the purpose of pain? Why is there pain in the world?
Well, firstly, pain exists because we live in a sinful world. We live in a world where we chose to be bad, And so when people say, well, doesn't he understand God? Yeah, but we chose to be bad. We chose to do bad things. We chose to be hateful. We chose that. So how can you be mad with someone who gave you life and life abundantly, and you still chose the opposite of what he gave you, right? So when pain, even though, yes, it doesn't feel good to go through pain, because we live in a world where people chose bad things, we have to experience pain. But the experience of pain is to push you into your purpose. It, like she says, it builds character, it builds integrity. When you burn yourself, if your mother tells you, keep it down. If your mother tells you the fire on the stove is on, do not touch the fire. And you go into the kitchen and you touch the fire and you burn yourself. And you start crying to your mother, Mom, I burned myself. She said, didn't I tell you not to touch the fire? Do you think you'll touch the fire again? You would have to be a sick individual to touch the fire again. So if someone shows you who they are and you don't believe them the first time, then you would have to be just as sick as them, right? You would have to be just as sick as them because they showed you who they are. Why would you fight someone on who they are? Let them be who they are. Give them the gift of accepting them of who they are and keep it moving. Let them be who they are. And that's what I always say. So when my ex, he comes here, I'm friendly. I serve him. Do you need something to eat? How was your day? Do you want something to drink? Oh, he took my son to soccer. Hey, you want me to wash those clothes for you? Yeah, I could wash those. Not a big deal. Yeah, not a problem. We could go here tomorrow. Not a problem. And people always say, why are you nice to him? For one, that's my character. You think I'm going to argue with someone who has consequences coming his way for his actions? Why? Why would I do that? He made his bed. He has to lie in it. One day he will see me with the man that I've been praying for. And he will have to learn and say, man, this woman was good to me. He will have to eat that, not me. Because I showed up the best version of who I was. You didn't like the best version of who I was. The best version of myself wasn't enough for you. So you thought the grass was going to be greener on the other side. No, it's not that it's greener, it's that it's fake. Fake grass always stays green. It doesn't change colors. Ask my neighbor. My neighbor has fake grass. All year round, the grass is green. So that's one. Stop fighting people that have consequence. The seeds that they plant, that's the harvest they're going to grow. You know, don't fight them. Don't manipulate them. Don't tell them you're going to learn, you're going to see, you're going to... No, 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 no. It's going to come back to them and you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do nothing about someone else's journey. Let that person walk their journey. Don't take their journey personally. Yes, they've hurt you. That doesn't feel good. But don't take it personal, because there's a price to pay. For every action, there's a reaction, right? So there's a price to pay. For everything they've done to you, they have to pay a price. And you just sit back. You sit back and you collect your money, you collect your health, you collect your wealth, you collect your strength, you collect your peace, you collect your joy, and you sit back and watch the chips fall where they may. I'm not forcing nobody. And when I tell you, when my husband left, I begged, please don't leave, please don't leave. And my 8-year-old son said, Mama, never beg him to stay. If he wants to leave, let him go. That was my 8-year-old son. 8, telling me to let his father go. Okay? Listen, God can speak through children. With every person you meet lies an opportunity, even with your kids. Even with your children. You know, so that's what I'm saying. Do not fight someone who made their bed and will reap the consequences of how they made their bed. You make your bed messy at night. You gotta go and lay in that messy bed. I told my friend the other day, why are you throwing your pearls to swine? For what? The swine, they wallow in the mud. They get dirty. They're filthy. They eat whatever you give them. And you're giving them the most precious, valuable part of yourself for what? For what? Don't you know there's a consequence for them wallowing in the mud? There's a consequence to pay. Why are you fighting someone who has to pay consequences? You think you can save them? You can't save them. All the praying in the world can't save them. That's their free will. Yes, can you pray for God to protect someone? Absolutely. But there's still a price to pay for your deeds, for your actions, for the things you've done. Let people walk it out. Let them walk it out. The same way you had to walk it out when they left you, let them walk out their consequence in peace.
But don't you believe people change?
Oh, people can change. Absolutely. Absolutely. But it doesn't mean that you're changing. I have to experience. I don't need to experience your change. You already showed me who you are. I've forgiven you. I gave you the gift of accepting you when you were horrible. So you just changing is for yourself at this point. Your changing has nothing to do with me. Didn't we talk about that? An apology can do nothing for me. It doesn't change my experience of you. But I forgave you. And I let that go. And I'm happy that you changed for yourself and for whoever's to come after me. I don't need, just because you change, I don't need to experience that. I already experienced you to a certain magnitude. I've already had that with you. I don't need to have it again, whether good or bad, because it doesn't bring me anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, people change. That is the most common thing unchanged people say. When someone says, well, I've changed. No, you haven't, because change is visual. I can experience your change. You don't need to tell me you've changed. You don't need to speak that you've changed. That's how you know people haven't changed, because they tell you. No, I don't need to know. I don't need to know.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. People change when pigs fly. People aren't changing. I'm sorry. And they're not changing fast. And you guys better start seeing the patterns. The patterns of a human being don't lie. The patterns of them don't lie. The things they say don't lie. If your words don't match your actions, there's a disconnect, and God is not of confusion, so I gotta go. If your words and your actions are not in alignment, this is not for me. Because your words and your actions should meet at a point. Okay? It should all make sense. And if it's not making sense, then I don't want it. I don't want it. You know what's so funny, Ida? I was gonna go live today and talk about sleeping with people. Now I'm not gonna talk about it here, but the importance of not engaging and entertaining certain people, because you don't understand that people show you who they are, but we just choose to not believe them. We choose not to believe when they tell us. So we create this narrative in our head that there's something that they're not. We create the narrative that they're Prince Charming. We create the narrative that she's my queen. She's not your queen. She's on an assignment to destroy your life. He is not Prince Charming. He is on an assignment to destroy your life. You got to pay attention to the patterns.
Wow. So them situationships and sneaky links gotta go.
Gotta go. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. They gotta go. All you're doing is making love to a destiny snatcher. For all of you who say, "Oh, my boyfriend, he's so jealous, but it's cute." Jealous, that is self-sabotage. Jealousy, I'm sorry, but there's nothing about grown folks being jealous over the people that they're with. "Oh, my boyfriend doesn't want me to do this. He's so jealous. He doesn't like me but it's so cute. No, he's just passionate. That's all. That's all excuses." A man that is jealous, a woman that is jealous, leave them. Leave them right where you found them. A woman or man that's possessive, leave them right where you found them. Okay? Leave them. If he lied once, that means he'll lie again. Leave him right where you found him. The problem is you're giving too many people chances to show you who they are when they showed you the first time, and you're putting high expectation on bad people. Leave them where you found them.
You're about to put a lot of people single after this video.
They need to be, though, Ida. They need to be single. They need to be. First of all, if you keep on attracting the same person, that's called trauma bonding. So your broken soul is just bonding with his or her broken soul. I mean, why would you want to be with someone broken anyway? No, for what? Do you think I haven't learned my lesson? I've learned my lesson from my past marriage, from past relationships. I learned my lesson. Who wants 3 strikes you're out? Who wants to be with someone again who treats me bad? No, if I choose someone again who treats me bad, it's my fault. It is my fault. Shame on me. It's my fault. Because obviously there's something in me that's wrong. Something in me that needs fixing. People say, "Oh, I'm good. I don't know why I keep on getting these bad men." Well, he didn't invite himself into your bed. You had to open the door.
Oh!
You know? He didn't let himself in. You had to open the door. These bad people keep coming. Now you can't get rid of them. Now they're the soul tie. I don't know. Exactly. Be single. There's nothing wrong with being single. Let me tell you something. You know how when you're closer to your destiny, you're closer to making it? I'm going to tell you how you're closer to making it. The okay? The enemy will send all types of distractions. I need you to quiet down. The enemy will send all types of distractions. Now, here I am, minding my business, trying to be a great success. And I'm getting DMs from men I haven't spoken to in months and years. Are you back in New Jersey? I'm going to come by and see you. So I said to this particular, well, what are you coming by to see me for exactly? Crickets, because what he thought I was going to say was, oh, absolutely, we can go out and we can have a glass of wine and we can talk and blah, 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 blah. No, beloved, you are my past. That's where I'm leaving you. That's where I'm leaving you. If you didn't prove to me who you were in that moment, you think I'm going to give you more space and energy to prove to me who exactly you weren't in that moment again? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You got to see the that's how you know you are on a path to greatness, when all of a sudden you start seeing counterfeits come into your life. People that are not a part of your destiny, not a part of to your purpose, but still want access to you. I don't care if it's your mother, if you left your mother in the dust, your father in the dust, and they're sneaking back. Oh, how are you doing? Oh, all I need is this, just to drain you of your energy. Absolutely not. For what? You think because you're fine that means anything? There's 50 million fine men out here. You're not the only fine man I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely not. No. I don't know what you're trying to do, sir. You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful. People are, whoosh, they are a mess. And just think about it. You just be sleeping with a mess. You just sleeping with messes. And then you wonder why you're foggy and you can't think and you can't operate, and your energy is low. And as soon as that person leaves, you feel like you're back to life. It's because you're dealing with a bloodsucker. Tell me I'm lying.
You are that.
Y'all be dealing with bloodsuckers and be wondering why you don't have no energy, and then blaming it on the food. No, you ain't got no energy because you're sleeping with the person that's draining you. He's depositing something in you, and you're making a withdrawal, and there's a constant deposit and withdrawal, and there's this exchange, and it just goes between the both of you. So your energy, your mind, yourself, you can't go beyond this person. Get people out of your lives, and get them out of your lives fast. Listen, I'm easy, and I don't block people anymore. I don't block. Sometimes you gotta block people, but I'm on this thing. I'm not gonna block you. But what I will do, I will tell you that I'm no longer engaging with you. I will tell you that I will no longer continue this friendship or continue conversations with you. And it's your choice if you don't want to follow me or be friends with me anymore. But let me tell you, beloved, I won't lose any sleep. So somebody said, does the man also observe the energy of the woman? You came from the rib of a man. So yes, he does. Of course, you're a part of him. So yes, he does. A man can sniff you when a man can sniff out your low self-esteem, and that's how he knows he can play you. He plays you because he knows he can. He sees it on you. You literally walk into a place that says, play me, please. Because you don't have any confidence. Your confidence is fraudulent. It's not real. So even though you're pretty and you dress nice and you smell good, please, a man can read right through that. A man, and I'm going to tell you how, because men, they'll try it with me. They'll test me. They like to test me to see what I'm going to say. But after I lay them straight, I won't hear from them ever again because they know who they can play and they know who they can't. I'm not a sucker. You know what I'm saying? So they'll know who they can manipulate. A man can smell it. A man can smell immaturity on a woman. He can smell when you have low self-esteem. He can sense. He got senses. And he uses his he's like a dog. Can a dog smell if someone has drugs on them? Can a dog smell when you may have washed your hands but still have particles of food on you, and he can still smell your food and he's licking all on your fingers? That's how men are. They smell. They use their senses to understand you right before you even say a word. He knows he can get you home the first night he meets you. He knows that he can play you. He knows that he can take money from you. He knows that he can play the woe is me self-pity and you'll feel sorry for him. He knows that. They smell it. They're like dogs. They use their senses. A man told me I didn't care for him. I said, why? He said, because most women, when they care for me, when they love me, they scratch they retaliate when I'm not talking to them. I've had my tires popped, my car scratched, I had my windows, broken with a rock. So you take toxicity as a woman caring for you. Okay, sir, you're not for me. And let me just explain, I'm sucker free over here. So if you think that me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you think that I should respond this way in order to gain attention from you, oh, you're talking to the wrong girl. I don't care for you. I don't care for you. You're talking to the wrong girl. I'm not. We sucker free over here. I'm scratching your car. I'm not peeing this or doing that. I've had my heart broken plenty of times. Okay, I'm not new to this. I'm not doing anything that brings me out of character. So please, I never was that girl. And I'm not planning on being that girl. You want a sucker girl, you go find one. There's a plethora of them around who are willing to be suckers. They're willing to wear that crown. Am I lying, girl?
Sucker free.